you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you. Either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak. A change what a partake, cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
My message to any dad, man, first off, know that, yeah, it is a hard job, but it's the greatest job in the world. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't change anything about it. Everything you're doing from here on out, if it didn't have purpose before, now it has purpose. It's the most important thing you'll ever do. Just be a dad.
Dad did about 20 years in jail. He got out when I was 21. And we started texting right away, and mostly about sports and bullshit, nothing too deep. Occasionally we'd throw in a happy birthday or Merry Christmas. We'd see each other maybe once a year, once every other year. And this went on till 3 years ago. I was 29. And so at this point, we're still basically strangers. We're cordial, but we don't really know each other that well. So he called me one night, which is already like, doesn't make sense. Something's gotta be wrong. I know instantly, because in all of our years of communication, we have never once called each other. So shit has hit the fan. I already know before I answered his phone. I answer the phone, sure enough, he's in jail, locked up again. He needs $5,000 to get out, and I'm the only person who knows who could possibly do that for him. Otherwise, he's there till trial, which could be anywhere from 6 months to 3 years, who knows? Like, could be forever until he gets to go to trial. I'm debating on it, going back and forth for obvious reasons, but ultimately, I don't have the heart to not pay the money, even if I don't want to. So, fuck it, I gotta pay. I take the 3-hour trip, bail him out. Next problem, he has nowhere to go. He got in trouble at the place he was living. He can't go back there. He has nothing. So Babe and I talked about it, and eventually we just decided, for whatever reason, fuck it. He's coming to live with us. We have an extra guest bedroom. We don't know each other. Whatever though, here we go. Let's see what happens. So he moved in with us. And let me tell you, it's been fucking amazing. He's lived with us for 3 years now, and he's like my best friend in the world. And my son loves him, loves his papa. And it's nice to have him around and just have somebody to be there and support. And it's just been fucking amazing. Who would have ever guessed? I didn't know this man for like 20 years, and then all of a sudden as a grown man, here he is, and bam, now we best friends. Life's fucking crazy. That's all.
Welcome to another episode of Dad Is Not a Noun. My name is Ishmael, changing the narrative for Men of Color Fatherhood, as well as changing the narrative on the things I care about. And what you just watched was a powerful video from a son not giving up on his dad. What struck me from that video is that power of humanity. Even though he didn't have a relationship with his father, but he was willing to give his father an opportunity, a chance. Because often in this world, when someone does mess up, we kind of shut them off. The family shut them off. They want nothing to do with them. And my guest right now chose the opposite. And he's here with me today. And then also I have his pop with me too. Cam and Pop, thank you for jumping on. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Glad to be here. Appreciate you having us, dog.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, brother.
No, thank you. And my next question, I ask all my guests that comes on the show, because I'm all about mental health, especially in our community. How's your heart at this moment?
That's for one, I love you said that, because I am too, bro. I've actually given three speeches on mental health to fairly decent crowds. Like, it's something I'm super big on. So I love that you asked that. But I'm good. I mean, I'm working on it, and I feel like as long as you're working on it, I'm good.
Pops, how's your heart?
I'm all right. I'm good. I'm here.
You are here and you're vibrant and you're here, and I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy that you're with your son and your grandbabies too. So that's a beautiful thing. Let's get into it. Um, this video which I found on Dope Black Dads,
Yeah.
over millions of views, so many likes, so many comments. Let's like, why did you feel like you wanted to share that story? Because again, I tell a lot of people, like, when you post things on social media, you don't have to. It's none of their business. So what compelled you to share that story?
I'll be straightforward. I got on social media only like 2 months ago, and I decided I wanted to start, spending real time on there and kind of taking it serious. I didn't have an exact avenue, but I know for sure that I like helping people, and I'm the type where I'm not afraid to tell my story if I think it'll help somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I was just on there kind of telling personal stories and kind of seeing what stuck with people and what was going to help people, and never in a million years did I think that, that story would go the way it did and help so many people.
And just like, take me into that mindset of, going back, you didn't have a relationship with your dad.
Yeah.
Like, just talk about like life for you growing up. Like, was there things that your mom said? Again, I'm not
Yeah.
like kind of steal you
Yeah.
away from your pops in the early days.
It's funny because now we have different recollections of this, as I figured out, because he remembers a lot of things differently, or probably more realistically, versus I was a kid, so I kind of blocked some stuff out, and I kind of so in my mind it was like, before I started really reliving all this, in my mind I thought of it like it had no effect on me, like I just kind of blocked it out. But as we've talked about it, I can look back and say, like, oh shit, yeah, I see where shit went left, at this point in life, because of this, or where it did have real effects, because how important the father role is in general. But it's funny because we have such different recollections. Like I thought he was pretty much in jail, my entire childhood. But then he brought up, you brought up memories like, yo, remember, he'll be like, yo, you remember your 6th birthday party at McDonald's? And I'm like, oh shit, I do remember you were there for that. So like, you weren't in jail for that. Like like, it's just,
yeah.
So
there's a difference between not remembering and something not ever happening. But if you don't remember, then to you it didn't happen. But I know it happened. You just don't know it happened.
Right.
So I don't always say stuff, but
yeah.
As the story goes, I'll just say little things, and then it's up to you to understand. Like, wait a minute, hold up, yeah, what are you talking? Like, I wasn't necessarily always where I was supposed to be. I was in and out of situations on a regular basis, but I was still there more than you think I was there. It just, I was doing what I was doing. So sometimes you're there, sometimes you're over there.
Right. So yeah, it's crazy. So it's been nice though, because like I said, he can tell a story, and I'm like, yo, like, oh shit, you were at my 7th birthday or whatever. Like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know that until you said it.
Who do you think took you to get your first haircut? Wasn't her.
Right. So shit like that, where it's like,
I might not have took you for your 3rd haircut, but I definitely took you for your 1st.
Right.
I know I did that.
So you're gonna find out right with me. In my mind, he was in jail from the time I was born to the time I was 13. We can get into this if you want later.
That's not how.
This is what I still think to this moment, except somehow he was at a birthdays or something. He was in jail from born to 13. Yo, he gets out when I'm 13. Somehow I spend the summer with this man. Like, that's my first memories of him, is I spent the summer with him at 13. And then I spent the summer with him. He dropped me off. I was supposed to spend the summer. I spent like 6 weeks.
You spent the winter with me when you was like 9.
I don't know that.
Right.
So
I told you there's a difference between not remembering,
right?
And
this is the beauty. So my first memories is 13. I was supposed to spend the summer. What did I spend, like 6 weeks or something?
I don't know. I don't remember.
So see, this is where his memory gets foggy. I spent like 6 weeks, bro. Right? One day he pops in the crib.
I remember you being there. I just don't remember how long it was, but I remember taking you home.
So one day he pops in the crib and he's like, bro, we got to go right now. I got to drop you back off home right now, which is like an hour and a half away. and we fucking hike it on the highway. You could tell he's panicking, like something's wrong, drops me off somewhere. And then a week later, he was arrested and gone until I was 21. That's the version I know.
Right.
You know?
And it's interesting too, when you think about it too, it's like when things are constantly ingrained in your head and you believe that it's real, it's the facts.
Right.
And that's what you believe.
It is my facts.
Right.
Even though it's not facts, but it's my facts.
Right.
And that's the case. Like, that's his reality, but
Right.
that don't mean it's reality.
Right.
It's his reality.
Right. And then when you have outsiders, I'm not talking about the mother, when you have outsiders telling you like your dad wasn't there,
Yeah, I mean, it is basically mothers and other. Yeah, right.
You know
You get their version of it because they're around more, and so that becomes your reality. Like I said, until he'll bring up a memory. I'm like, yo, but if you were in jail till I was 13, you're right. You were at this one event. So how the fuck was you there though? But you know, so it's crazy.
No, it is. I think it's interesting too, and it goes back to my next question. Have you had that conversation, Pops, with your son of how it was for you growing up?
Yeah,
because often our environment kind of creates our reality.
I definitely have different conversations about different times in my life, you know, just so they understand, like, listen, you know, like a lot of the same things you go through right now as a parent, that's the same shit I went through. So just think about right now, you as a first-time father, how you look at things like this. I says, if you ever think about sometimes like when we'd be sitting at the kitchen table and I'll just be sitting there staring at you, just looking at you lost, and my wife would be kicking me under the table, like, stop looking at him like that. And all I'd be thinking is like, how the fuck am I supposed to raise this kid? I don't even know how to raise me yet. That's what I'd be thinking when I'm looking at him. He's like 9 years old, sitting at my kitchen table eating Frosted Flakes. I'm just sitting there like, yo, what the fuck? How am I supposed to do this? I just got out of state prison. I don't know shit. I'm still trying to figure out how to be a man. But, you know, shit is what it is. You figure it out as you go. And when you get to where you're supposed to get to, you get this. You know what I'm saying? However you get there, as long as you get there. You know what I'm saying?
Let me add on that. I've really gotten to know recently I've gotten to know both my parents recently in a way that I never did because we've been working on like a docu-series, if you will, a documentary of his life. So I've been, and I'm the interviewer, so I've been asking these deep questions, tough questions, and got to know his childhood story, which is fucking, I don't know if I can curse it in my bad, but it's
go ahead, man. We're grown folks. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So his story, you know, it's insane. It's, you know, his dad was nuts. He, you know, so I understand perfectly how he became who he became. It would have been, you know, a miracle not to, you know.
Definitely, and without giving too much, because I think people want to see it, so I don't want to spoil it for people who want to watch the series. But also just talk about that level of grace period that you have for your father, because some kids don't have grace period. They're done, they cut them off, and that's it. So how were you able to have that grace without having that relationship?
Yeah, I get you. For me, it was I think it was just, you know, a combination of like my personality, and I was when this all popped off, I was at a point where I was just indifferent to him. Like it wasn't a cutoff. It was just like it just is what it is, you know. Like I never expected us to, you know, get to this level, but it was just like I'm not, you know, this all started when I was like 29, and we'd been texting a few years before that pretty consistently. And it was just like, yo, I'm not mad at you because I now see how fucked up life is. Life's been hard as hell on me too. So I see how you could have started off as this person and how shit took you way over there. You ended up somewhere that you know, should have never been or so I just know how hard life can be. So for me, we were at a point when this started where it was like I was not mad. I was just indifferent. Like it is what it is, you know? And so when I got the opportunity, it was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's see where it goes, because, you know, he's never done nothing to me. And people will hear that when I say that sometimes, like, oh, what do you mean? Like he wasn't there? I'm like, no, that was what he was doing to himself. His life was fucked up. He wasn't doing that to hurt me. That was a hurting, you know, not being there for me was a byproduct of it, you know?
Right.
And so that, like I said, that's just my personality and the way I think.
Definitely. Thank you for adding that, because I think that's important, that to separate the two. I think that's
Right.
important. But pops, in your way, how were you trying to keep your relationship with your son? Because I know in the video, you guys would text. Was that the only way you kind of knew? Because again, growing up, the way you were raised and how you communicate is totally different than
Totally.
how you can communicate with your little one.
Right.
So, like, just talk about that. How were you, like going through what you went through? Just talk about how you felt. What how your way to communicate with your son, Sam. I mean Cam. Sorry about that, Cam. How you were able to like communicate it with him in your own way. I don't know if you understand the question, but how were you able to like your way to communicate with him?
I don't know, just with the text messaging mostly, but I just try to just talk. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're talking about whatever we're talking about, I just give them my own experience on that situation, and then it's up to you to either reject or use the information. That's really all you can do. It's all
Right.
I've ever tried to do. Like, listen, I can give you this information. You can reject it
You
or
do with
accept
what
it.
you want. Right.
It's a
Right.
choice. I always say, but listen, I wish when I was at a certain age, like my friends, we were all, it was a first for all of us. You know what I'm saying? So there was nobody there that could say, like, hey, listen, if you make this choice, you're gonna end up over here.
Right.
Because it was a choice we all made. But like we grew up in an era where one day there was no cocaine, and then the next day cocaine was everywhere. So everyone was selling it, everyone was doing it. So there was nobody went to jail yet. You know what I'm saying? Like when that stuff first came around, was it really against the law? Because listen, you could just sit right there and sell drugs all day. And I mean, you didn't have to hide it. You didn't have to move it. You didn't have to worry because the police didn't come by. And everybody sat out there all day and all night and sold drugs. That's how bad it was when it first started. Like, I swear, I don't think it was against the law back then. They say it was, but I don't believe it was. There was no police ever. And people sat out there all night and just sold drugs.
Not to mention, we're not even going to take it here, but I'm going to just leave it on the sentence. Where did it come from? We ain't got to answer the question, but how to get to the hood. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Yeah. Facts. We don't.
You don't have
We
to go
don't.
that deep, but just for anyone who wants to.
No. Facts. We don't have to go into that, but facts back. But now knowing what you know, like your dad was just trying to stay in communication with you. Like, what does that make you think now? Even though in your video we were talking about the sports and stuff that wasn't like not like
Yeah.
deep talk,
Well,
but well, like looking at it now, it's like he
yeah,
was
no,
just trying to stay
I
in
think I
communication
knew
with
even back then. I think even as we did it, I was like, this is dope. Like he did, he didn't even have to do that. The fact that to me, like that might have been as far as it ever got, but to me, I was happy with that. I'm like, dog, I'm watching a game. I'll text him like, yo, you see what Braun just did? You know what I'm saying? Or like he'll
Right.
text me like, yo, Philly's looking like ass right now. Like
Right.
to me, that was dope. Like that was cool.
And then just talk about have your father kind of fed off your vulnerability, because I know that's one thing in our community is we look at vulnerability as weak, being soft and feminine. So
Yeah.
has your trait kind of rubbed on your dad a little bit?
I'll let you answer that. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm from the old generation. Like I don't subscribe to none of that bullshit. I'm just me. I am who I am. I get down how I get down. Like it, love it, don't like it. I don't give a damn. Just respect it, and we're good. So now, listen. I don't care what you do. If you want to cry, cry. If you don't cry, don't cry. That has nothing to do with being a man or not being a man. You just whatever. I mean, what, when your parents die, you don't cry? If you don't cry when your parents die, you're fucked up. My father wasn't shit. I still cried when that man died. I didn't like him. I didn't really have a lot of respect for him, but I understood like that right there. Without him, there's no me. So even though he wasn't whatever to me when he died, I went to his funeral. I cried. You know?
And we've been able to have we've had a lot of really good talks like that, and a lot of in my account of things, yes, he's been able to be, you know, more vulnerable and more open about shit, and like even shit like, you know, even shit like this, like he, you know, this isn't super comfortable for him, you know what I'm saying? Like
I hate doing this.
Right, like this, like I'm to the point where I'm used to this. This is normal for me. Like this is still a work in progress for him. So like this is a perfect example of it, you know. And I have him doing all types of shit all the time. I got him doing all types of shit on the camera that he never.
This shit is driving me nuts right now. Sit here too.
Yo, I'll pop up like, yo, I got this idea for him. I got this idea. The camera's on. Be there, we go X, Y, and Z, and you know, he usually just be like, all right, I guess, like, you know, and 50% of the time they're probably bad ideas,
But the beauty of it is that you guys are together. Pop, just talk about just being a grandpa and being with the little ones. How's that feel for you?
It's cool because it's kind of like you get the do-over a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Now you got more experience. So now, like I deal with him totally different than he deals with him. So our relationships is different. Like he'll come downstairs, he'll chill. Especially when no one's around, it's just me and him. He doesn't pull the bullshit. I go put him to bed. He goes straight to bed. If it's nap time,
100%.
he goes straight to take a nap. This guy, when Dad puts him to bed, 2 hours later he's still running around. I'll put him to bed at 8:15. By 8:30 he's sleeping.
Yeah,
usually.
And it goes worse and worse when this is like instant. I'm like within 30 minutes. If the wifey's putting him to bed, forget about it. He's not going to bed. He's not going. So it's just funny. Everyone in the house has a different dynamic with him, and you know, it's dope just because we all get to, you know, we're all just one family, kind of raising him together.
He'll try me with certain stuff, and then I'll just say little stuff to him. Then he'll be like, "Okay, Papa."
I know you ain't going for that.
I tried you, Papa.
Pop be giving him that shaft look, like, don't try me. But also just talk about you know, what you guys are doing right now when it comes to homeless. You know, you guys created something to help the homeless, and that's a beautiful thing. Is talk about that.
Yeah, so we started out just me and him. We'd go, there's a big homeless community in our city downtown. So we'd go downtown, we'd cook food in the kitchen and bring it downtown and just hand it out. And so we were doing that for a few weeks and making content, and started gaining a little traction. And then last week we got our first business sponsorship, where basically what appreciated out, because it was big for us. We found a business that was willing to basically sponsor the day. They paid for a bunch of stuff, you know, hygiene supplies, toothbrushes, soap, blankets, all types of shit, and food. So we went out there. We dished out like 21 meals, a bunch of hygiene shit, and it was dope because not only did I get a sponsor, which allows us to do more, because we were coming out of pocket on all this before. And mind you, like, we're not wealthy by any means. We're actually pretty broke, both of us, which is another funny thing, because everyone's like, oh, you guys must be rich to do all this. I'm like, nah, we probably should be working jobs. Like, we're actually pretty broke, but that's okay. We're rich and happy in life.
We get food stamps.
You're right. So it was dope because we had Bryson Goodine, Division I basketball star. He hit me on TikTok. He's from the area. Like, yo, I'll pop out with y'all. This is amazing. So he popped out. Wow. So it just, it snowballed, and then we posted it there, and it led to, I had 8 or 9 other businesses contact me over the, in the last few days. And so now I'm lining up every week. I'm lining up a new business to work with, basically, and we're doing bigger and bigger projects is the idea, So it's just been it's been dope. And so also, I didn't even get to tell you yet, because I literally just got off the phone. There's a restaurant downtown in our city, Bento's. Shout out Bento's, Joe, the owner. So I just got off the phone with him. He had one of the businesses that reached out and wanted to help. So what we're gonna do this week is we're gonna go down there. We're gonna use his restaurant kitchen. I'm gonna bring tables, chairs, all that, set it up in the little city hall. And we're gonna feed all the homeless restaurant style meals, and on top of that, we're going I want to give them the full restaurant experience. You know what I'm saying? These people probably haven't had a restaurant experience in who knows how long, decade plus. So, and one thing about homeless is when you give them options. You treat them like people. It's usually just like, oh, take this spaghetti. It's all I got. Take this. It's all I got. You know,
I'm not going to be able to do that.
Already done. Already set up. This dude and
no. Here's what I'm saying. Like you can set up and do whatever you want to do. I'm talking about the police.
This isn't
by that. You can't do it. Like they're gonna stop for this.
And we've talked about this because technically none of this we do is
not technically. It's against the law.
It's
against.
All right, fine, whatever.
No technical,
but
it's against the law. It's not. It's against the law.
There's a police station directly across the street. I dare y'all to pull up on us and say, "Hey, you can't feed the homeless." Good luck.
They're gonna pull up.
And you know what? It'd be better for our business if they did. Truth be told. Go ahead. You know, it would be to spend that in the, to tell my whole community, like, yo, listen, I'm out here donating my own fucking money that I don't have to help people. And these people are, trying to lock me up for it or trying to, like, go for it. If that's,
Yeah, that would be bad PR. And that's the one thing. They don't want PR.
I know, but they would be doing us a favor if they did that. Truth be told, I would have 10,000 people tomorrow on my back. Like, yo, we got to do something. But anyway, so we're setting up tables. Not only I got this owner, and this is the beauty of this now is that I got a platform growing. These businesses are kind of at my discretion. So it's like in his mind, like he probably thought I'm giving a few $100. That's not the plan. That's not what we're doing. So what we're actually doing is you're gonna cook food. We're gonna set up all these tables. I'm gonna give them menus. We're gonna give them, food options, dessert options. We're gonna give them an experience that they probably haven't had in forever. And they're gonna feel amazing about, So it's deeper this time than just food. I want to make these people feel human and good about themselves, So I'm super pumped about that.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing, Pop. What do you feel about that personally? That's just the power of giving people a second chance.
His view is different because he has a history and he's on parole. So if this goes south for him, it's different. For me, I don't give a fuck. I have nothing to lose. I have no record.
I'm not sitting at no tables. I can tell you.
I got nothing, But for him, I understand, and I completely understand. For him, this is, he's not. He could end up in prison, like back in prison. So our risk here is completely different. But everything that has been legal, as far as like the cooking in the kitchen and all that, he helps to the fullest with all that. Like he's a way better cook than me. I always fuck it up. He always takes care of the food, and
No, definitely. But I just
that you can't do enough. That's only that.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like especially when people are like sitting there and there's no one else around, but everyone that's around is eating what this person's done, and now they want another tray.
Right.
And even though you'd rather feed another person,
right.
I mean, what am I going to tell you? No.
No, right, and it goes back to like not know. Yeah, and it goes back to not knowing that person's story.
Right.
Because we live in a society that we're willing to judge people. We're not even willing to listen to their story. To say, oh, yeah, they did time and they're just a horrible person, or they're homeless. They did something to put themselves in that situation, and not understanding that there's a story behind that. And what I love, what you're doing, Cam, is that you're just showing that level of humanity that's lacking in society.
Right. Right. We're just trying to help people out. I think we were both at a point in life where we were both like, we just stay home and take care of Kai. And we both have, had our child been fucked up in life, basically. I've had periods in life where I was super well off and fucking miserable and not living right. And, times where I was broken, not living right, times where I was broken, happy. I've been all over, and obviously same with him. So, I think we somehow realize, like, one thing that absolutely makes us happy is helping people. Like we'll never regret that we helped people, But that's kind of where it stemmed from for us.
Definitely. And the underlying story is that you may not see it, but I think that comes from your pop.
Yeah.
Even though, he may not say it, but is more in the action. And again, everyone has, that highs and lows. And for you to be able to say, you know what, I am not going to let my pop fall through the cracks. That shows a lot about your character. and the type of person you are, as well as your wife, because she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you need to bring your dad with you.
Yeah, she's a saint
It's a beautiful
about
thing, man.
yeah. No, and shout out to her because she was, she had said before I even said it. I think she was probably. I think she was the first one to say it. Like, oh, we should move him in with us. Like she was just as on board with it as I was. Like, so without her, none of this would be possible. Even now, as we get to chase this dream because she makes a shit ton of money now, or a decent more than the average person. She makes good money, so we get to that allows me to be able to stay home with Kai and us to be able to stay home with him and really focus on not only raising an amazing child, but also doing whatever we can for our community, trying to get some our own redemption and as well as helping people.
And you guys keep on doing what you're doing. So what does the future hold when it comes to the organization and just life in general?
You want to get this one?
No, you can go ahead.
I mean, so here's what it is for me. I can tell you right now that I think we're on the verge of really big things, and I can say this with the utmost confidence in my mind. For one, I've always been a dreamer, but I've had dreams come true, so I know that dreams come true. I was a professional poker player for many years. I went from a dude that was no job to playing poker. Everyone's like, oh, you're fucking crazy. It doesn't make sense. You're gambling, to winning poker tournaments for hundreds of thousands. And now all of a sudden the dream made sense, right? now you believe the dream. Okay, I get you. So I know that shit like this, I know how to do it, So I think we're on the verge of really big things. It's not, and right now we're focusing on helping the homeless, but that's not our sole thing. Like we just want to help in general. And I'm planning to go many different avenues on this, helping as many different people, children, whatever, as many different people as we can. And I don't have a clear path. And I know from personal experience, you don't need a clear path. You have drive, you have a general vision. And I think we're on to something really, really big.
Definitely. I'm gonna keep following. You guys are always welcome to join and share more stories of what you guys are doing in the future.
Appreciate it.
How can people find you?
Find us on TikTok. At Dad Wants to Help.
Nice.
We're also on Instagram, Dad Wants to Help as well.
Nice.
And
All those links.
Walker.
All right. All those links will be in the description below. Again, this has been another amazing conversation. Cam, thank you for joining on. Pop, thank you for jumping on.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
your
us.
time. Thank you for
Appreciate you, dog.
joining on. Again, this is another great conversation on the podcast. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we're out. Peace. All right, stay on for 1 second. Stay on 1 second. Let me recording.